Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mamas in Miami, where together we're navigating parenthood with unwavering solidarity and fierce love of one another. On today's program, I'm really excited to catch up with a really old friend of mine. We went to high school together. Her name is Ana Cristina Cash. She's a singer-songwriter living in Nashville. Started her career at the age of 6 on Sábado Gigante here in Miami. So we're just going to wait for her to sign on and get started. We've got so much ground to cover, and I'm so excited to catch up with an old friend.
Hi, Christy.
Hi,
How are you?
Anna.
Great to
It's
catch
been
up with you. How are you
so
doing?
long.
A very long time. You have a beautiful family now. Congratulations.
Thank you. So do you. It's okay. So I hate playing the game of this is how long it's been, but you and I go back at least 30
Oh,
years.
yeah. It's, yeah, 30 years. You said it. I mean, since high school, we were musical theater together. We did Into the Woods.
Just
That was
crazy,
so
right?
crazy. I was Rapunzel. I
I
know
can't believe
that.
you remember. I was going to remind you of all of this today.
I remember. I know there's a VHS that Natalie sent like not a long time ago, and it's kind of blurred out. It's like technology's changed in like 30 years,
A,
20
a lot.
years. Yeah.
And I
So,
remember we were all shocked when you got the role because your voice was just so beautiful. And you're like, guys, it's okay. My schedule's just insane. You had, I think, recently gotten signed with Sony.
yes, I was working in high school. Believe it or not, it was kind of crazy. I look back on that now, like as an adult, and I was literally a child still. It was kind of nuts. So I tried to balance, just like high school life, just the social aspect of that, just trying to be, friends with people, be in a social setting, and then like schoolwork. And then I was working with adults all the time. I was going in and out of studios all the time as a kid, and honestly, it kind of made me stronger, but it was a lot to balance at that age, looking back now. So
Absolutely.
it was kind of
I
nuts. Yeah.
remember just knowing that you always had a foot in every door. You had one at school, one at work, one in personal. When you're a teenager, you want a personal life. I remember we would sometimes see you, sometimes not. I have photos and I couldn't find them to show off today, because as it turns out, they're all at my mom's house.
Oh man. Well, most of my stuff's at my mom's house too. All like my Gulliver yearbooks and all of that. They're all in Miami. So like, when I go over there, it's like a treasure trove of stuff. It's like, oh, I remember that. And like, oh, what was I wearing? Because like that early 2000s fashion was something, wasn't it? With like the low-waisted jeans and like
And
the
what's scary is that a lot of it's coming back.
it is. I'll see these kids now and they like, you know how like 80s parties like were a very big deal to us now. Now it's like 90s parties. Now it's like Y2K parties. I'm like, you guys need to stop. Like, not to age us, you and I or anything, but that's like
Yeah.
it's freaking me.
Yeah. So my daughter Adriana has been laughing doing the MC Hammer dance around the house, and it just so happens that last night my husband goes, "Adri, come! I want to show you who he is." And she goes, "Who is that?" She's like, "Oh, that's where the dance comes from. What's that guy's name?" My husband's like,
Oh my God.
"That's MC Hammer."
My friend Osa just signed on. She's so funny. She's a little younger than us, but yeah, she says no to the low waist jeans, of course. Yes.
Yeah, those
Adriana,
were
what a beautiful name. That's so cute. Wow.
so sweet. So, okay, Anna, the last time I ran into you was probably your graduation, and so much has happened since then. I mean, a lifetime has happened. Um, the last that I had touched base with you, you had signed with Sony.
Yeah.
You had released your first album.
Yes.
And before that, I should mention that you grew up singing. I mean, at the age of 6, you went on Sábado Gigante and you were a guest up until the age of 13.
Yes. Yes. It's true.
Craziness. And, you know, I kind of read your bio and I saw that you had, the honor of singing at the Opry.
Yeah.
So kind of like just bring me up to speed on what's been going on.
It's so crazy. So during that time period after I made my Latin record, I had created differences with the label. So like leaving, I also wanted to sing in English, and at the time that wasn't available to me. So I had a little bit more of a normal life and more control over my stuff afterwards, and I released things independently, and I was more so focused on doing events for years. So about 2010 to 2014, I moved to Los Angeles. I made another record called the West Coast Sessions out there. And that was a really interesting time period for me because I was single. I didn't have a family or anything like that yet, but I wanted, as much as I love Miami, I felt like I never kind of left my own space because I did college in town. You know, I went to FIU and all that. I stayed in Miami, so I felt like I needed to like see what was out there as far as like the entertainment world. So I did move to Los Angeles, and it was a really cool like bohemian time for me, you know, because I had so many friends that were in the arts. They were actors mostly, or and like waiting tables, and actors and filmmakers and models and singers. And I really had the chance, since I didn't have as crazy of a schedule, like I was working part-time and everything, and like doing demos in studios and all that. I saw so many shows. I saw so many live shows, and I just soaked all of that up, and also cinema culture. So like as an artist, that 4-year period was extremely important to me because creatively I started performing more live. I was like, you know, kind of like my more of like my original work and everything that wasn't the Spanish. So it was more like singer songwriter. I would say it was like pop soul I was doing at the time. And then my husband and I met in Los Angeles at the Sunset Marquis Hotel, which is like a music hotel. It was right down the street from where I live, so I would pop in and out all the time. I'd have a drink or something, and then he and his friends started talking to me, and like nothing romantic, you know, or anything like that. We were just friends, and he stayed in touch with me by text, like very friendly. 9 months later, he asked me out on a date. He's like, you know, come see Nashville, all this stuff. So I flew over to Nashville. I fell in love with it. Like, you know, things got serious between he and I. I moved to Nashville. So my style and my influences became more country, I would say. But before that, even in Miami, I always had an affinity toward country music. There just wasn't a market for it there, but I listened to old school Patsy Cline as a kid. Leanne Rhymes was like a hero to me. I absolutely loved Leanne Rhymes. Faith Hill, Shania, like all these powerhouse females like Martina McBride. So I would influence my vocals as a kid, like, or as a teenager after those women. And it was mostly the women in country music because like the guys are amazing too, but like they were my heroes, the women in country music. So coming over to Nashville, I had those resources. I had the country musicians to work with. My husband and I have the studio, so it was convenient. A lot of the storylines I was writing was more country. So now what I'm doing is I'm fusing the Latin music with country, which is kind of nutty. But what I'll do is like I'll write a country song and then I'll translate it to Spanish, or vice versa. I'll write a song in Spanish, translate it to English, or I'll add like a little bit of a nylon string Spanish guitar to like a country song. So I'm experimenting a lot, and it's been really cool to see the reactions because you just don't know what you're going to get from people really, and how they, if that's like palatable to them or not. But it's interesting. I find that when you're yourself and when you're having fun, people kind of like to join in. You know, I've always kind of unapologetically been myself. I don't know what else to be. So yeah.
So you brought me back, and it felt like deja vu. When you said that Leanne Rhymes was one of your big influences, because
Huge.
we were in school when the Coyote Ugly movie came out,
Yes,
and I
that was huge
don't know
for me.
if you remember, we used to make you sing that
Oh, you
in music theater.
did. Oh my gosh. Okay, I just had a flashback. You absolutely did. You guys made me sing Can't Fight the Moonlight Deep in the Dark. Yeah, yeah. So I like all of that was very much in my world, even in Miami, even though like I would say that that was more of a pop song. That was a Diane Warren pop song, but still like her vocals were very country.
We used to put you
Um,
on the spot all the time.
I had so much fun with you guys. I feel like we had a great little group of creatives in that high school. And I was so thankful also, I must say, to Gulliver, Miss Jerry. I love Miss Jerry so much.
Jerry
And
Springer passed away. Yes, she was a
she
big
passed away.
mentor to all of us.
A great mentor to all of us. The drama teacher that was there at the time, Miss Anderson, was helpful. I know she left later. Also Mr. C, like all of them. If it wasn't for that creative hub in high school for people like you and I that we love the arts, I wouldn't know how to express myself at that age, other than the fact that like I was working in the arts already. Like after school, I feel like a lot of schools put emphasis in sports, and while Gulliver put a lot of emphasis in sports, clearly, you know, they have amazing sports. I was so grateful that they had band, a jazz band, a band, a choir, drama, dance. They had
They
everything
sure did.
basically. So
Yeah.
I think I'm a big promoter of arts in the schools for that reason because kids need to feel understood. And I mean, was that not a lifeline for you? Like when you would go to those classes, like absolutely a
Absolutely.
lifeline.
Absolutely. People will laugh when I say that I was probably, and I still am, I'm very shy, extremely shy. The reason why this has become easier for me is because there's not a million people in the room, but I hate public speaking. And I joined the drama department probably as early as fifth grade to help overcome that.
Oh yeah.
And I credit all of those teachers there for that because it helped me get through something that was very real, a fear of speaking in public.
It's It's very true. So I think it's just very helpful for self-expression, just even socializing situations in which you have to socialize where you might be afraid to speak up. Like even myself, I've always been kind of shy. I'm like an introverted extrovert. So I could sing, I could get on a stage, I could project, I could look past people, I could connect. Singing, public speaking, same. I don't love public speaking. That's something I kind of had to learn later. Um, so I would say that, kind of being exposed to drama versus music as well, and kind of, same as you, it kind of really helped me come out of my shell with that because it's harder for me to have um not only one-on-one conversations but also like public speaking. Absolutely. It's
Sure. So
very
are you a
easy.
big advocate in Nashville for arts in schools today?
Yes, I'm actually a co-chair of the Nashville Ballet Ball this year. So 2025, March 1st, we have our ballet ball. So while it is mostly dance based, they have, the money and the funds from the ball go to community outreach. There are free performances for the children in schools and libraries. Also, children that would not have had access to dance classes at all, they get scholarships and things like that. So all of those monies go towards that. So I'm on the board. My husband's on the board. I'm a co-chair this year. And again, like music, clearly, like I preach music all my life and everything I do, and I have my daughter in violin right now. So I'm a huge promoter of that. Um, but right now, like the dance medium with the ballet ball, that's kind of what I'm really involved in. And they
That's
do a lot of
amazing.
community outreach, and it's really great. It's really great to see what all they do and just to have that available to someone that may not have had that available to
Sure.
them.
And so not only are you singer, songwriter, advocate, you're also a mom of two.
Yes.
Your kids are in
Full-time
prime
job.
ages right now.
Yeah, they're crazy. It's crazy ages. Grace just turned 7 yesterday. She's like 7 going on 17. She is smart as a whip. And that's challenging too. And she's a wonderful little girl, but like every child I think is different. And then my son right now is 3. And he's kind of like all over the place. Like boys are all over the place,
Get
and
ready.
you,
Yeah,
you have to keep up with them. And I find myself like physically restraining him to put him in a car seat.
sure.
And I'm just like, okay, we just like shaved off these extra few minutes when I could have gotten your sister to school because you are throwing a tantrum. So like it's very real. The struggle is real.
Sure is.
And like I love to cook and I try to have a balanced life, but then I also have the identity as a performer now. So I'm like recording a new record. I plan on releasing a new record. So it's kind of trial and error, Christy, to see what that looks like for me, like with a family and just scheduling all of that and just making time for my family because I'm a very hands-on mom as well. Um, so yeah, it's a unique challenge that I didn't have before when I was promoting things as a teenager in my 20s.
Sure. So
So
growing up in Miami with the Cuban influence, I mean, obviously, a Cuban influence, you're going to be a hands-on mom. That's just, I think that's a prerequisite right there. How are you managing having grown up in Miami and then being pushed into country life in Nashville?
I'm pretty flexible. I'm very weird. I don't know what else to say. Like I love the Cuban culture in Miami. I love the vibrant colors, the foods. Like it's not only Cuban culture, but also the Latin American culture. Like
Sure.
you'll have like
Absolutely.
Argentine cuisine and like Peruvian. And I think I'm just so randomly like creative like that I could just jump into that right away and go to like a salsa place and go to Calle Ocho and like Little Havana, and I can go to one of these places and just dive in completely and feel so at home because that's the culture that I grew up with and I love it. But then I'm in Nashville, and Nashville's so much fun. And then we have the same spirit, but just like with the line dancing and the fiddles and everything, and it's just as loud and just as fun in a different direction, I guess. So I think I don't know. I feel like I've sort of blended the two cultures in my life. It's a part of my DNA now. I've lived in Nashville for 10 years, but then growing up in Miami, I feel like I'm very much a part of both worlds kind of effortlessly. So it wasn't super forced. Although my husband would say that I was afraid of the dark when I came to Nashville. Because like even before we got married, I would visit his backyard, our backyard now in Hendersonville, and like there weren't as many city lights or anything. So I used to be like, oh, this is like really dark. Or like when we tour to like middle America and do shows in like Wisconsin or like Missouri, all this stuff, I was like, okay, it's like really dark. He's like, not everybody has city lights, Anna. This is the way this is the way people live. It's not like what you're used to, you know what I mean? So I had to get used to like more rural life as well. And like we're moving to a house now that's more kind of rural. We have neighbors like with cows, but it's close to like a suburban area. So it's considered suburban and you have your Target, like you have everything there, but then there's like cows next door. You know what I mean? So it's like but something I do love about Tennessee is that there are great opportunities for co-ops for farms so that there's like a lot of organic food. You can join these like co-ops. Everything's very fresh and natural. They're produce farms, dairy farms. So I've gotten really into the whole like farming situation, even though I'm not the one that like grows the stuff. My husband has garden boxes. I cook the stuff. So like if we grow tomatoes, I'll like find all the tomato recipes. I'll make a tomato pie or something like that. But um yeah, I remember just like even like we have chickens,
Fun.
which is fun, but like you should just see me with the chickens. I'm not the biggest natural with the chickens. I'm again not the one that helps really take care of
Well,
them.
at the
So
end of
like,
the day,
if I,
you could take the girl out of Miami, but you can't take Miami out of the girl.
hi, now I want to see who's here really quick. Oh, okay. Claire, Noah, Dede. Oh, your mom.
Yeah, that's my
So your mom.
mom.
Hi. Hi, mom. My mom's Teresita, by the way. That's
I
who
know,
married.
I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
she's very much, and I thought for years, like literally it was 2 years ago, I thought my mom's name was Teresa, no joke, but it's Teresita, like on her birth certificate, Teresita Margarita, but
My
she
mom
hates her.
is Teresita de Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, like we're like again, like I remember like there was a mom chicken like laying on like she was sitting on the eggs. I'm like, okay, I need to get these eggs today. This was a while ago. I'm like, I don't know how to get from underneath this hen to get these things. This is not me. It's not how we grew up, you and I.
Sure.
So my husband's like, you need to get a stick and sort of like nudge her. I'm like, I'm gonna get pecked by this chicken. So like again, like I cook everything with the eggs. We have people to help with the farm and all that, but like I'm not like
Right.
hands-on in the dirt with the chickens yet. So
Oh, that's crazy. But your husband
yes,
is born and raised in Tennessee, correct? And
born.
if people have not caught on by your last name now, you
Yes.
have married a very high profile, musically inclined family. Why don't you fill those
Yes.
in that don't know?
Yeah, so that's a whole nother thing. So my husband's father it was Johnny Cash and his mother was June Carter Cash. And if you've seen the film I Walk the Line,
Mhm.
you can kind of hear the story of their lives. And that was sort of like he likes to say that that's sort of like not the full portrayal. It's sort of just like something that was crunched into time of like a story and everything like that. But a very musical family. His dad was a very prolific singer songwriter, amazing. His mom was also in the music industry since she was very young. So in turn, John grew up on the road with his family. He has siblings, same thing. So like he would be on a bus in the summers or like as a little boy, like he rode the Concorde as a kid, like these crazy experiences, like Michael Jackson wrote him a handwritten note, Jim Henson gave him a puppet. So he has these things that are so not like not normal in a way, like this childhood that was very unique to him. um, so it's been really interesting to learn from him. Also, I think clearly one of the reasons that we get along is because we're both creative people. It's hard for people to understand. Creative people, we kind of make our own schedule. Our job is nonlinear most of the time. So it's kind of hard to understand that lifestyle. So I'm happy to have a supportive partner, and he's also produced records for me. My Shine record that I released in 2020, he produced. He produced a Christmas record for me as well. We work with other artists in the studio. Like I sing background vocals and like on so many people's records in Nashville. I, also co-write with so many people in Nashville. So it's a wonderful community, and I'm thankful for it. So just being here has opened up another kind of can of worms, and then definitely um kind of like hearing my husband's stories and everything of how he grew up. It sort of makes me not feel like a weirdo and not feel alone. Okay, like because my parents had no musical inclination at all, which is weird. Like it wasn't until my nieces were born later, and they're 12 years younger than I, and then my niece Abigail younger than them, my nephews as well, that no one in my family played music. So I was like really like oddball out. Like my dad was an engineer, owns an air conditioning company. My mom was a homemaker and she was a teacher. Um, so again, like while they really supported me as a kid, I kind of was always the one kind of pushing that and just be like, I want music classes. I want to sing here. I want to sing there. Like, it was very natural to me at a young age. But with parents that kind of had to learn along the way. Honestly, my mom and dad knew nothing about the music industry. We had no music industry contacts whatsoever. So moving to a place like Nashville, where so much of that was everywhere, and you see even artists with families and artists with kids, like, just me, like now having to put out a new record that I've been working on for the last 2 years. Um, just like you see examples of people with kids, women doing it, like Carrie Underwood, like Gabby Barrett, and all these people. It's like, why be afraid if these people are making it work? There's nothing to fear. So I'm very much seeing this around me all the time. So I'm less fearful because I'm seeing the examples in action. I don't know how else to express that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when
So it's
yeah,
definitely helping, it's shaping the way you parent for sure.
it's shaping the way I parent. You have to, it takes a lot of scheduling.
Sure.
Like the record that I recorded, which is now being mixed, it was produced by Willie Breeding and my husband John Carter Cash. The way I wrote in the studio with folks or on my own or recorded, I would do that during the day hours while my kids were like either in preschool or elementary school. So I had like the mommy hours. I'd go into the studio at 10 a.m. to write with writers, where, some writers usually are used to working at night, but like, people accommodated my schedule as a mom.
Sure.
So
What a blessing,
so that was,
right? To be able to
yes,
do that.
yes, what a
Because you're doing
blessing.
what you love and you're still coming home and being that hands-on full-time mom that you want to be.
Right. So I'd be, either writing or recording these songs and then being hands-on, picking up kids or cooking and everything, So, once the travel kicks in, we'll see what that looks like. Well, it'll be a lot of
Do you
coordination,
plan to take
but
them on the road with you?
I would like to as much as possible. See, so when they're in school hours, I think it would be probably just like weekends here and there if there's like a packed schedule. But if it's a summer schedule, yeah, bring everybody, If it's like
That's awesome.
if it's a summer schedule, which my daughter loves buses, by the way. If it ever gets to the point where I have to be on a bus and like being all over the place, like that kid like loves buses. She loves tour buses. We went to Dollywood and they took us in Dolly's bus, and like she doesn't realize how expensive those buses really are. I'm like, mommy's not quite to where she can afford this like luxury bus. Like we would have to rent one if I'm making enough money, and if this was like a thing that I had to do. But she's been on one before, and it's like she loves
Oh
it.
my God,
It's
how
crazy.
funny. How have you managed to merge both cultures for your kids?
It's interesting because like my daughter is like full Florida, like full Miami. I want to move to Miami. Like I'm going to college in Miami. Is obsessed with my mother. They're obsessed with each other. Like, and she loves like my Miami family. She just loves Latin culture, but it's a little rough when I try to get her to speak Spanish. She's like not wanting to follow along. So that's tough for me. Like, I'm really hoping that I can kind of like teach them the language. Every now and then I say a few words, but it's hard because John only speaks English, even though he knows a few words in Spanish and pronounces things very well in Spanish, actually. And um, so they love the culture. They love the warmth. Grace was born in Nashville. My son James, my 3-year-old, he was born in Miami. One of my closest friends from middle school, Suzette Delgado, delivered James.
Stop. I know Susie.
You know Susie?
So her
She delivered
her sister is my sister-in-law's very best friend.
Stephanie
Yeah,
or Lizzie.
Stephanie. What up, Stephanie?
Hi, Delgado family. Anyways,
Delgado
just like the
family.
sweetest,
Yes.
sweetest people on earth. And she used to live next to our middle school, elementary school, St. Thomas the Apostle. And as kids,
Yes,
like I would stay
correct.
over her house all the time, and she delivered James, and like that's the best family.
Well,
Anyway,
look, I'm always talking about the 3 degrees of separation, Miami. Forget the five. It's always three,
oh,
And there you
three
go.
to one, three to
Exactly.
one. Literally, everyone knows somebody, and it's yeah. So like, how do I merge those two things? Like, I cook Cuban food.
I
Also, I
see you
just
do it
cooked.
all. I love when you post that you're cooking Cuban food in
I
Nashville.
have
Makes me happy.
to do more. I'm like, it's so crazy because like John is afraid of the pressure cooker. He thinks I'm gonna like blow up the pressure cooker. And I'm like, really? I'm like following the instructions. This isn't that bad. Just like stay away from this room while I'm using the pressure cooker. So like I'll do a lot of Cuban things without the pressure cooker, but you sometimes really need the pressure cooker for like the beans and all that. Like you need it.
I'm still scared to use it.
No, everybody's afraid of the pressure cooker
Yeah.
in my house, but me, like I'll wear a helmet. Okay. I don't know. It's the Instapot, everyone's because people do legitimately have accidents from that. It's
Oh yeah,
crazy.
it is. My mom once had a pressure cooker erupt when she was making us chicharro as kids.
Shoot.
Yeah.
See, why is it the Latin food that always requires the pressure cookers? Because I have friends from Brazil too, and they use like the pressure cooker for
Sure. Yeah.
everything.
But
And
my
it's like,
mother-in-law
why?
does everything low and slow, and that's I've learned low and slow. So whoever gave me the pressure cooker at our wedding, my mom's saying it was terrible. Whoever gave us the pressure cooker, it's still in the box from
Your mom,
some
your
years ago.
mom just commented. She said it was terrible. I'm so
It was
sorry. I'm sorry, babe.
horrible. It was
Yeah.
horrible. And I think that she traumatized me so bad with that story. I'm like, I'm gonna go my mother-in-law's route and just low and slow it.
I need low and slow recipes. So if you and your mom want to send me some low and slow so I don't like blow myself up, that would be great.
Listen, I'll tell you, I'm gonna do you one better. My husband and I still have not gone to Nashville, and it's our dream to go. We're gonna get together. You're gonna make me Southern food, and I'm gonna make you the Cuban food.
You're gonna, you know what my family loves that I bring to Thanksgiving in Miami that's like super Southern, very easy to make a dessert, and I'll make it for you
Do it.
sometime when I'm out there. I'll just deliver it to your door. It's a chess pie. It's basically, have you heard of that? It's basically
Never. But I'm
a
already
pie
excited.
with sugar, like it's literally sugar and egg is the pie. Like sugar, egg, maybe some flour or something, but and like white vinegar. It's basically pure sugar and butter is what the
Amazing.
pie is, but it's like the easiest thing to make and it's so southern and it's
Well,
amazing.
it's
So
on. Either you're coming to Miami or I'm going to Nashville, but we're gonna
either way,
together.
speaking of which, like, people always say, "Oh, Miami's so wild." Nashville is wild. Nashville is so much more crazy than anything I've ever seen in Miami. Like you have no idea. Like the locals, we avoid Broadway, which is that one street that's like basically like Louisiana's Bourbon Street, like New
Right.
Orleans is
Yeah.
Bourbon Street, or like I don't know what street in Miami is kind of crazy like that. Maybe back in the day, like
Ocean
Ocean Drive would
Drive.
be
Yeah, that sounds
would
about
be
right.
attention. So our Broadway right now, it's like it's crazier than the Las Vegas Strip. It beat Nashville beat Las Vegas for bachelor and bachelorette
I
parties.
believe it. That's
So
crazy.
there are like these people, because I'm not really of that mindset anymore. You know what I mean? Like where like these people are on these pedal taverns. So there's a person like driving this pedal tavern, but you're pedaling and you're powering the car and you're drinking beer, and these people are falling off into the road.
Oh
And
no.
it's like there's stories and stories of like bars on that one street, and it is just insane. Insane. So like Miami, as crazy as people think Miami ever was or is or party town, I don't know how I moved to the party town of the United States. It's amazing though, and like I love it here, but it's just like there's certain days to avoid that,
Sure.
And what's great is the live music. They have live music playing there from 8 o'clock in the morning. There are live singers
That's
on Broadway, which is
amazing.
which is
That's
really
so
cool.
cool.
Have you been here?
No, I just told you I've never been to Nashville. I've been to Memphis, not to Nashville, and I'm dying to go. My husband and I, every time we've planned to do it, something pops up and it's like,
Yes.
shoot, we can't. So it's
Yes.
gonna
Oh
happen.
my gosh. Y'all should come. Listen to me. Y'all should come.
There she
That's what's happened to me,
is.
by the way. There she is. That's what's happened to me in the last 10 years. I
So
say y'all like
you're
and
throwing
everything.
me y'alls and you're talking, how much country has influenced you. But you recently released Patria y Vida,
Yes.
your newest single, which
Yes.
I'm such a fan of the song to begin with. How did that come about?
Okay, so when this song came out in 2022, it was written by Yotuel and, a team of people. And it just really struck me as being a Cuban American like yourself as well. Like when that song came out, I'm like, this is the battle cry. Like this is so much of like what our parents went through, just like going through the Cuban Revolution, having to leave the country, having to move to the United States without anything, having to start brand new. Like, the Cuban story
Mhm.
very well. You've lived it, you've heard the stories as I have. And that's deeply rooted in everything I do. No matter where I go, no matter where I move, that is at the core of who I am, at the core of who we all are as, children of immigrants from Cuba. So that song, I'm like, feel like I could do a spin on that, because it had more like beats to it and everything. So I just decided, since we have the studio, I'm like, let me bring some musicians in. My niece played the violin on it. Gabriela Martinez is her name.
Amazing.
Um, Marlon Gatto, who played the percussion and the horns. He's from Miami. He went to University of Miami. Mike Rojas on the keys. Like we had so many people play on that record, and it just came out very kind of organic. And I cut some of the verses because it was very long, and I'm not a rapper, so there's like hints of rapping on that
I
song, and
noticed.
I'm like, when I pulled up to the microphone, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna finagle this situation because I'm not a rapper. But I did it more so like speaking, almost like a recitation kind of thing, which is what kind of rap is. But to me, the it was a very melodic song. I fell in love with the melody. I fell in love with the message. I fell in love with the words. And I'm like, honestly, if I could use my voice for something that I care about, I've cared about this situation my entire life. Like my grandmother when she was alive, like both of them, they used to yell at the TV when they saw Fidel Castro on TV. All this,
Oh,
you know how it is. It's like, so I actually recorded that right around the time that it was released, and I hadn't released it until now. And and what's crazy is that after this, I'm gonna have like country releases, but I wanted to make sure to release that one first. And I said, let me just release it to see what happens. It's very meaningful to me, but I don't know who it's going to resonate with. And you'd be surprised. Like I got messages from people in Nashville, like record executives in Nashville, just really interested in what I was doing in the Spanish song. You know what I mean? And that's not something I expected. Um, because but people are hungry for diverse things here, which is great. Like it's a great time to be in Nashville because we have rock country artists, we have Latin country artists, we have Black, gay country artists. It's very diverse right now, and people are using a lot of fusion in country music. So I think it's really cool. And
it's a
I did
beautiful,
not expect to hear from some of the people that I
it's a
did about that.
beautiful rendition. As soon as I heard it, it's almost like you're hearing the song for the first time all over again. And there was notes and lyrics that I picked up on that I did not pick up on before. Just with the tone you were giving it, and just there's little changes into it, and it was fantastic. It was beautiful. I really enjoyed listening to it.
Thank you so much. It's crazy because it's like when you cover something like that, as a song that's not your original composition, like you want to honor the people that wrote it. You want to honor the people that performed it, but at the same time, you're your own individual self, so you have your own individual voice, your own stamp on things. So you kind of have to be yourself, but at the same time, not make it too far off where you're disrespecting the original work that they tried to create. So I tried to kind of just honor what they did with the first one. So
Well done. We're all so proud of you here. We really are. You've done amazing. It's
thank
so great
you.
to see you thriving and doing what you love, and your family's
Thank
gorgeous.
you.
Beautiful rendition. I downloaded it to my playlist.
Your mom is so cute. She's writing all these messages. She says, "Beautiful rendition. I downloaded to my playlist. Gracias, Tere." She needs to get together with my Teresita
I'm
someday.
telling you, it's happening. Either I go to see you,
It's
my
over.
mom,
Yeah.
or the other way around. So,
Yes.
some closing thoughts, Anna. Where do you envision your family in the next 10 years? The four of you.
Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully at peace. Like, if there's anything that I want for my children and for my husband and really for myself, it's like if I'm guilty of something, if I have one toxic trait, it's that I do take on too much. And I did since you met me. I took on probably too much as young as I was. I'm hoping, with as much as I enjoy my work and I enjoy everything, I'm hoping to find peace in my life. Not that I'm not at peace, but I think peace is a balance for all of us, especially when you're balancing a family with work and we can get so overwhelmed in our lives. I'm just hoping for happiness and peace. And that's all I want my kids to be. Honestly, I want them to clearly all the things do well in school, have a sense of identity, all of that. But I can only pray for happiness and for peace for us, wherever we are. I imagine we'll still be in Nashville, definitely in the next 10 years, unless something goes wrong and, you know, people
No
invade the country.
negativity. Let's think positive for next.
Positive, yeah. Yeah, but what I mean by that is if we get invaded by some foreign country and we
My
have to move,
goodness.
which I hope never happens, that's like
Heavens
crazy.
no.
Yes.
Well, Anna, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today. I have a feeling you'll be coming back to share more stuff with us. Maybe bring your guitar next time, play for us,
Yes, I
or
would love that.
or
Anytime,
call us from
anytime.
the cash cabin whenever you want.
I will. I absolutely will. Anytime. I would love to. Next time you want to interview me or we could do a little tour of the cabin. I'm just not there
I love
today, but
that. Whenever you want.
but
Maybe what we can do is I can go over there and you could show it to me in person and we'll do it there.
let's go. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for Danny and your kids to come and we'll have a big time.
No,
So
I don't want to go with my kids.
see, you're like me. I have three different things. I have three different events going on this week, and I'm just like, okay, I need mom break. I need like a mommy
It's
break. Let me have a
a lot.
glass of wine.
It makes us
It's
better
it's
moms.
it's mental health support.
Love
Honestly,
it.
it's emotional
I love it.
mental health support. But
It's
and
like,
very proud of you too. And I love your live here. I love Mamas in Miami and
thank you
everything
so
that you're doing.
much. I don't know
God
where
bless your
it's
family.
leading to. I don't know where it's going, but I'm going to keep going. And we're just so happy to have the support of all of y'all. Y'all.
Y'all, see? You get used to
Yeah.
it. It's like really infectious to say y'all.
Yeah.
It just flies out at this point.
Oh,
So, yeah.
it rubs off. And thank you so much. Have a great weekend. We'll be in touch.
Thank
Big
you. Bye,
kiss.
Christy.
Bye.
Bye.